What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Getting Mental. And today we have a guest. She's amazing. Heads up, she was on a previous episode, Tech Problems. My God, you know how that goes. So I'm so lucky. We are so lucky to have her back. Her name is Andrea Montoya, and she is just a phenomenal person. And she's an awesome coach who helps women overcome emotional eating. So I want to hear all about it, because, oh my gosh, this is like the perfect time to start talking about this. We're in holiday season, girl. These tamales have been my kryptonite. I need help. I need help. So,
hello. Well, thank you for having me. First of all, I would do this 10 more times if we had to, because it's been such a blast to talk to you. But yeah, so my name is Andrea. I am, and like you mentioned, emotional eating coach. I help women with pretty much anything that has to do with emotions, right? And for most people, and it's what happened to me, high school, college, I dealt with a lot of eating disorders, bulimia, overeating, binge eating, and it was all because no one really teaches us how to deal with our emotions, right? No one really teaches us how to process these things, the psychology behind it. We're mostly told, like, you're not supposed to feel, numb it, be strong. And so because we don't know how to process these things, we turn to food. We turn to so many things externally just to numb the way we're feeling inside. So I help women get through all of that and finally be able to process their emotions, heal, and not need to turn to food anymore or anything else, right? Food is just kind of the most socially acceptable and readily available drug on the market, but most people turn to food, sex, drugs, alcohol, all those things. So it shifts so many things in our lives. So I am so excited to talk more about that. And
please, because girl, I'm not kidding, man. Lately, like, you know how like we have those holiday cookie bins now, right? With like the shortbread cookies, but I don't know. I grew up in a Mexican household, so that was always like a sewing kit. But, like,
yes.
So you know what I'm talking. But you see, now as an adult, that's cookies. That ain't no sewing kit. So like now I've been binging on those, dude. Bad, because like sugar in general is just awful. It's so, I mean, it just wreaks havoc on my system. And I notice that when I eat a lot of sugar, which I really have been working hard on not to, I break out. I'm irritable. It really affects my ADHD. That's where I mostly notice it. And it hasn't been until recently that I noticed that I am so distracted. I mean, if I wasn't already like squirrel, I mean, I see like 20 squirrels. So yeah, do you know anything about that? Like how sugar can influence that way? I mean, is it something that you've seen before, something that is talked about? Because like I'm new to this.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Usually what I see on the holidays, like kind of what you're doing is more, there's different reasons why we overeat. There's different reasons why we binge, obviously. And in the holidays, the main one is like the scarcity mindset, right? I like to call it kind of like situational hunger. Like we're not really hungry. We don't really want the thing, but it's the fact that like it's Christmas and the Christmas cookies are only on Christmas. Therefore, I have to have them, as many of them as I can right now, because if not, I'm never going to have them again. Right. So it's kind of like that, where it's kind of like, or for example, it happened to me the other day, where we were at like an Italian restaurant, and this Italian restaurant is the only restaurant that I've ever seen that has Nutella pizza. And I was like, I'm not hungry. I just had a plate of lasagna, but I'm here. Therefore, I have to eat it, right? So I'm going to overeat, and, I can't stop eating it, because if not, I don't know when the next time I'm going to eat it again is. So that's more of like a scarcity mindset when it comes to the binging and the overeating. It's situational. It's only because it's Christmas and I'm not going to have it again. Only because I'm at this restaurant, I'm never going to have it again, right? Oh, it's because it's my grandma's thing and I never see my grandma, and this is the plate that she makes, so I have to have as much of it as I can. So it's this scarcity behind it, right? Does that make sense?
Dude, yeah, you're like blowing my mind. Like, I never thought of it that way. Like, that is so true. And I trick myself. And like, I know I'm doing it. Like, by the way, you know how last time we talked about our inner child?
Yeah.
I've been studying and learning about the outer child. Are you familiar with the outer child?
I have not studied that yet, so that I want to know more. What do you refer to when you talk about the outer child?
So the outer child has been taking, and I'll totally dive into this, has been taking control when I have like this emotional eating, because like you said, it's a scarcity mindset. Like, oh, I'm not gonna have this again, right? And so then I'll trick myself into going, yeah, you're never gonna have this again. So like, might as well just like all binge it now. And you know what? It's okay. You can have like another one and then another one. And I'll keep telling myself that. But this is like the 10th time I told myself that. So technically it's not scarcity anymore. I can still have it. But the outer child is the child within us that controls our behavior. And our inner child is what controls our emotions and our needs and all this stuff. So I was recently reading a book called Taming the Outer Child. Have you heard of it?
I have not. Tell me more.
Oh my God. It seriously started to blow my mind, because oftentimes we blame the inner child for how we act. We blame the inner child. It's like, oh, we need to meet the needs of the inner child, and like they're not being met, so that's why we're acting this way. But in reality, what the book is showing, that the inner child is defenseless. It's innocent. It's the little Andrea and the little Brenda, who is like 4 years old, who's just like, please pay attention to me. These are my needs. And the outer child is like the teenager, rebellious kid who's like, I'm going to do what I want. And the inner child's like, can you not, so that I don't get blamed for this, because everyone's blaming me and it's you. And the outer child's like, nah, I'm going to do what I want. And the inner child's like, you're hurting everyone. And so then the adult in the entire equation is like, I have 2 children I have to tame. I have to give the emotional needs to the inner, and I have to freaking tame the outer one, because this one's the wild banshee who is exhibiting the behaviors.
No, that makes perfect sense. And so, so what you're saying is the inner child is provoking certain emotions, and then the outer child is acting on those. Mm-hmm. And then your adult self is like, how do I control this? What's going on? Right?
Yep. Like, can y'all get along, please?
Yeah, exactly.
And it was
that makes perfect sense.
Mm-hmm. It's fascinating. And it talks about how the outer child is the one that is responsible for like the overeating, the emotional overeating, and like the like not being disciplined and stuff like that. And so I just thought that was so fascinating, and I couldn't wait to bring it up with you, because I know we talked about inner last time.
Yeah, no, I love that. I love it. That's definitely like a different perspective, a different way to look at it, but it makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense. And it's that understanding why you do the things that you do, right? So it's just, this is all kind of just gives us an explanation of, okay, cool, my inner child is making me feel a certain way. And now there's also this part of me that's been conditioned to react this way, right? Like my outer child is conditioned to behave in a certain way. Like I like to call it, it's kind of like sensation association, right? So I have this sensation of something happens, my inner child gets triggered. So now if we kind of talk about it in the sense that you're saying, it's like, someone called me ugly. Because of that, my inner child is triggered, because we're like, well, I'm not worthy unless I look a certain way, right? It might be a thing that we feel, or if someone doesn't think I'm pretty, then I'm not loved, right? I hear that. I actually just had a conversation with a client about this, where someone told them like, well, not everyone's going to think you're pretty. And it triggered something within her big time. She was like, well, if someone doesn't think I'm pretty, her belief is, or her inner child gets triggered by that, because they're like, well, if someone doesn't think I'm pretty, then I'm not worthy. I'm not going to be loved. So the inner child gets triggered by that. And then the association to that sensation of unworthiness, of anxiety, of whatever that may be, is right away, then that outer child would be like, well, I have to eat. I feel anxiety. The association to that is, when I feel anxiety, I have to numb it by eating.
Isn't that fascinating? That's so fascinating to like learn about ourselves like that. Because dude, like then we can master ourselves. And like when we learn to like master ourselves, I mean, mind you, let me take that back. Then we like really learn about ourselves, right? Because I feel that ultimate mastery, I don't know if we will ever attain that. Because for me, it's just all about learning and growing. And the day that we stop learning and growing is the day we die.
Exactly. I agree with you 100%. And I think we're always, it's such a blessing too. Sometimes I talk about like Kaizen, never ending improvement, and always, you know, continuing to learn about ourselves. And some people are like, well, oh shit, I'm never going to get there. And I'm like, no, you're never going to get there. There's no there. It's like, we're always evolving. We're always growing. We're always learning. And it's beautiful. Like how awesome that we get to just become better and better versions of ourselves every single day of our lives. It's so cool. So yeah, I agree. I agree completely. It's like, we're always evolving.
Heck yeah. Can you like walk me through a process on how you go about helping women become the best version of themselves? Because that's a tough subject to tackle, emotional overeating, and which is something that I have struggled with in the past. I don't even know if I mentioned that in our previous, because I was just having so much fun, like talking about everything else. But no, now like ever since I started to realize my patterns with food, I'm like, oh yeah, no, I've totally done that. So like, what are your methods? What do you do? And I know you have workshops too. Can you like tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah. So, well, actually, one of the things that you mentioned there with like self-mastery that we were saying, you never really like fully master yourself. I think one of the biggest things when it comes to self-mastery though, is that of, for example, seeing the trigger, like, okay, I got triggered because of this thing, and actually just becoming excited about it. So when someone comes in wanting to heal emotional eating, the first thing that I have them understand is that it has absolutely nothing to do with food. We never really talk about food ever, because food is just the way that we're numbing. Like I mentioned in the beginning, just like drugs, just like alcohol, it's just a way that we numb. It's this external factor. And this is something that I myself, when I was dealing with this and with bulimia and everything, I became a nutritionist. I became a personal trainer. I became a health coach. And it was like all these external things, like how can I diet better? How I need to understand metabolism, or I need to, exercise more. Maybe the answer is exercising for me to heal. And it had nothing to do with the external whatsoever. Right? It's like I understood everything. I knew how to eat. I knew how to diet. I could give my clients diets and I could give myself diets, but I would still at the end of the day go binge. And I was like, oh my God, why am I such a horrible nutritionist? Like I give my clients these things and I don't do them myself. I'm over here binging. Right. Yeah. And so I was like, okay, clearly all of these external things have nothing to do with it. So we go into, like you mentioned, inner child work. We go into what is the root cause of the overeating. I would go as far as to say all of the women that come to me have this like perfectionism, all or nothing mindset, achievers mindset, right? And it's that of like, for most of them, it goes back to like some mother-father wounding thing where they picked up that they weren't loved unless they achieved. And so I have to be perfect, all or nothing. I have to get good grades. They were rewarded by their parents every time that they got good grades. They were rewarded anytime that they achieved things. And so they're like, well, I won't be loved unless I achieve. I won't be loved unless I look a certain way. They've picked all these things up from society. And so now when it comes to dieting, it's like, I have to look this way. I have to look perfect. I have to diet perfectly. If I don't diet perfectly, if I overeat on the cookies right now, then screw it. I'm eating all the cookies, right? I'll start again tomorrow, all or nothing, perfectionism. And so those are the things that we start working on, is digging deeper to what's the root cause? What are the belief systems? When we're able to shift our beliefs, then the actions change automatically. Now we don't have to willpower our way. Most people are like, well, I don't have the willpower. That's why I can't diet, or that's why I gain the weight back. And I would challenge every single person that believes that into, it's not a willpower conversation. It's not a willpower problem. It's about expanding our capacity to feel. Yep. Right? We keep numbing our emotions.
Oh, I just got chills.
Yeah. It's like, how can we allow ourselves to feel more? We need to feel in order to heal, is what I love to say. And what my coach used to always say is we need to feel in order to heal.
Dude, yes, we got to feel in order to heal. And feelings are fun when it comes to that kind of stuff, because you're over here like, oh, like I have to feel it. Like, it's not. Have you seen the memes where it's like when you're going through a spiritual awakening, what people think it's like, and it's like someone in like the garden, and then it's like what it's really like, and then you're like, I'm not crazy. Like it's a lot of work, but it's so worth it afterwards. It's so worth it. And I struggled with perfectionism for a while too. And I talked about it actually in my last podcast episode. Same thing. My parents, like if I wasn't perfect, if I didn't get the straight A's in school, if I wasn't in gifted programs, if I didn't make honor roll, if I didn't do, if I wasn't like the kid that everyone liked and just always so, it's like my love was conditional. I mean, their love to me was conditional. It was like, they would take it away. And I had to learn. I remember in my first therapist, I failed my first class in college. It's my first F ever. Andrea, I had a freaking panic attack. I was like, oh my God, like I'm the worst. I'm a failure. I'm awful. And she's like, no. She's like, you're going to live tomorrow. You're going to be fine. I was like, no. And she's like, honey, your worth does not, your grades don't determine your worth. Your worth is not determined on your achievements, on your grades, on anything like that. You are your own person. The way you treat others, and the way you treat yourself, the way you be, like that's who you are. And I think that's the biggest gift that I can give clients coming into my program, and that I think that's what I struggled with the most is believing that I was worthy if I didn't look a certain way, or believing, and that doesn't mean that because I accept that or because I feel worthy and love myself because I looking like, having a few pounds over, that I'm just going to like eat my way to another 300 pounds or whatever that may be. It doesn't mean that whatsoever. It's like once you're feeling whole, once you feel worthy, once you feel lovable, once you actually love yourself, as corny as that sounds for some people, it's like once you have that self-love, now you're going to act from that place, right? Now you act, you want to nourish yourself. You're high vibe, like you want to move, you want to work out. You're not sitting there beating yourself up, right? So now the weight loss happens as a byproduct, but that's never really the focus, right? Where most people kind of have it ass backwards, where you're like, it's not for most people, it's not the weight loss that you want. It's the feeling that weight loss is going to give you, right? You want the confidence. You want the thought of like, okay, I'm lovable now, the feeling of being accepted. And so what if we felt that way now? And because we control our feelings, we control our emotions. So we can feel that way now. And as a byproduct, get to where we want. But most people are like, I have to diet, I have to do the thing, I have to whatever in order to feel those feelings. But then when they get there, it's like, it's very temporary or fleeting because it's not, you didn't work from the root. You still feel unworthy. There's still those things from like inner child stuff, right? Yeah. That still come up. So yeah, I feel like most people are doing it ass backwards, where now it's like, what I love to do is let's actually get there first. And as a byproduct, now you don't have to willpower your way through. You don't have to like never eat cookies again. Yeah. Oh my God, you're so right. It becomes so much easier to stay disciplined and on track. And it doesn't become like this wall that you have to break down every time or barrel through. It just comes naturally. It's like, oh, okay, I have this sense of worth now. And so I know what I would like to do and what I don't want to do. And it's going to be a lot easier to just not eat the cookies. Exactly. That's so true. Oh my God, I love this. Yeah, because our emotions and our state are what cause those actions, right? So if I'm feeling down and I'm feeling shitty about myself and I'm feeling all these different things, then I'm going to act a certain way. Yeah. But if I'm vibrating low, it's going to cause me to eat. And now because I overate, now I feel even worse about myself. So now I'm like, screw it. I'm just going to keep eating because I feel like shit, right? And it's just this cycle that keeps going. Then I beat myself up. But if I'm vibrating high and I feel good and my emotions are in the right place and I love myself and I'm seeing everything completely different, I'm going to act that way. And bam,
I get what I want without having to focus too much on it.
Oh, and it stems from belief too, man. Like, but you have to believe it. Like, you have to believe it. What I love telling my clients is like, if you guys don't believe, okay, that you are going to improve yourselves and that like these tools are going to help, and that like, if you don't believe that, then you're right. You never will. Plain and simple. You won't. For those of you out there who think that you can't make it, that you guys can't, achieve your dreams, I'm here to tell you that you're right. You won't, because it's belief.
Exactly.
For those of you who believe that you will, yes, because it really is that shift, that simple shift that will then cause the actions. But it does start with belief. That is true.
And that's something that, for us, even when we're getting people into the academy and stuff, we'll call when we're on the enrollment calls. We're just like, is this a priority for you? And two, do you believe that it's possible? And we've turned away many people that are like, no, this is something I'm never going to achieve. And we're like, yeah, okay, you won't. Then this honestly, it's not really going to work for you. But honestly, it's kind of like for most people, they've continued to diet and diet and diet. And so they're like, well, I've tried everything and it doesn't work. And so this is just the way I am. And I'm stuck this way. And that used to be me. From Thanksgiving until Christmas, most, don't quote me on the statistics. Actually, I won't say the statistics. I'm just going to say most Americans gain 5 to 15 pounds from Thanksgiving to Christmas. And then 50% of Americans go on a diet starting New Year's. So most people gain 5 to 15 pounds on New Year's. They create a New Year's resolution. They start to lose weight. Then the ones that lose weight, 80% of them gain the weight back. So it's like, it's crazy because it can't be that many people that just don't have the willpower, right? It's like, it's just dieting in itself doesn't work. It's setting you up for that scarcity mindset. I tell you right now, you're going on a diet tomorrow and you're going to overeat on all those cookies today as a scarcity, right? It's that scarcity.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like it's Christmas all the time because there's so much scarcity.
So true. Oh my God. And so, okay, you just mentioned the academy, and I know that you have a masterclass too and workshops. You're amazing. Can you tell me the difference between the three? Like, what if somebody wants to enroll, what can they expect from the different things that you offer?
Yeah, so I have my ditch dieting crash course. That's a quicker course, self-paced. So it's more actually like tools, tips in order to stop dieting and start eating more moderately so that you can begin to reconnect to your body. Because the issue is, if you want to just start intuitively eating, but you've been disconnected from your body forever, that's what's going to cause a lot of chaos, right? Yep. So let's connect to the body first. Let's use those tips. Let's use these things so that we can do that. So that's the crash course. Then I have my Self-Sabotage Masterclass, and that goes a little bit deeper into the emotions, into the why we do what we do. It's a quick masterclass, but it gets into like the belief systems that cause the self-sabotaging.
Cool.
Right? Self-sabotage there's so much to it. There's so much to why we do it. And so it explains everything a little bit deeper. And yeah, I think that was a big thing we talked about last time was self-sabotage, because that's big for a lot of people.
That's my right now, me and self-sabotage are like, listen, I'm learning and I'm taking jabs at you. Okay. Like, don't even try me with a procrastination right now. Get the hell away from me. Like, stop. That's how I'm feeling. Cause man, it can get so easy to procrastinate. So easy. Just be like, hey, I'll do it tomorrow. That's self-sabotage. That's self-sabotage. And I didn't even realize that.
Yeah. And so there's usually a belief or something behind that, right? That's causing you to self-sabotage. The procrastination is a way of avoidance. So why are you avoiding? What are you avoiding there? Mm-hmm. There's, the fear of failure, this success thing. There's a fear there, and there's a belief of, I'm not someone that, I don't know, I'm just saying business wise, I'm not a coach that makes $1 million. Like I'm a coach that, my belief system is this is what's available to me. I learned that millionaires or people that reach $1 million in their business, that is, they're bad or money is evil or whatever. So there's certain beliefs that are causing you every time we're getting close to it. You're like, oh shit, no, let me self-sabotage. Let me procrastinate. Let me avoid, because the truth is I believe that $1 million equals whatever, right? That's just an example, but that's usually, there's something so much deeper to that. So yeah, we go.
Awesome that you dive into that. And so that's your masterclass. You dive into the internal, the beliefs
holding you back from what you actually want. Yeah. And then in the academy, the academy is 12 weeks. It's like my baby.
Yeah.
We have mentors in there that help me with the women. We have, in self-pays, we do it all with you. A ton of accountability, crazy amount of accountability. And there we go, 12 weeks, 12 modules. There's meditations, there's movement practices, there's embodiment practices, where it's not just like logically know it, but I want you to embody the feeling of worth. I want you to embody that like self-love, all the different things. And we work through everything. So, if it's something, okay, your dad told you this, you had to look a certain way. We go through like forgiveness stuff. We go through, there's so many different modules. We go so deep into so much of the internal. It can get scary for some people, but that's why we really, you have to really want to do the work and heal. And it's amazing, the transformations, because it's not just the food, right? Once you shift and you feel worthy, you're not numbing with food anymore, but now you're like going for the job. You're going for after the guy that, there's so much more you're doing in life.
Potential now. Now you've opened Pandora's box to what you're capable of. You're completely transforming lives. And that's exactly what I talk about in my coaching too. I'm also developing a course, which is like the practical tools that have helped me to shift my mindset and, help me create the life of my dreams, and like keeping me on this journey of persisting and just like giving back and spreading the freaking high vibes and connecting like this. When people look at me, they're like, oh, she's so jolly. Like, she probably hasn't been through anything. I'm like, nah, I have. And I overcame that. And you can too. This is how I did it.
Exactly.
Super open about it. And that's why I created this podcast, because I want to inspire others and let them know that, no, you're not a victim of your circumstances unless you believe it, right? Unless you believe that you are, then totally you are, and you will stay there, my friend.
And I will say that's probably the thing that held me back for so long. And I think that's where a lot of people continue to stay stuck. Is back in the day, I thought I was like, I'm just bulimic. Like I'm a victim of my circumstance. Like it's my environment. It's where I live. There's, people keep bringing this food around the house or whatever it may have been. I always blamed something externally. But once you realize that you have the power, that you are so capable of healing these things, and you stop being the victim, and you're like, you take your power back, because that's the thing, you're giving your power away to all the things that you think are causing this stuff for you, right? But once you take your power back and you're like, no, I can do this. It's not the food. Food isn't the enemy. It's not my body. It's not my mom's fault because she gave me this body or whatever. I have the power. It's all inside. All these triggers they're just an invitation. Triggers are an invitation for me to look inside and to heal. And so I'm grateful for them. I love it. I'm going to go in and I'm going to do this work. Everything shifts. So yeah, just getting out of the victim mentality is huge. Huge.
That will transform your life. I'm so fascinated about your 12-week program. So the 12-week, this is the academy, right? This is the...
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
The academy. Walk me through like what the first month will look like for somebody who wants to sign up. And you said there's huge accountability, which is awesome, because girl, I'm someone, when it comes to like working out, I'm gonna tell you something. I need accountability when it comes to working out. Like, oh my God, I hired a trainer for Miss California USA, because in the past I'd always been really bad about working out and I really wanted to build muscle. And like, I've learned to now work with what works for me. I love dancing. That is such a great way to work out. So now I realized, it's not that you hate working out, Brenda, right? Right? Yeah, it's not that you hate working out, Brenda. It's that you need to work out in the way that you will like, and like things that like work with you. I can dance for hours and I can burn so many calories and get toned. So perfect. That's what I'm doing now, right? To get in shape. But in the past, like that accountability was huge and it helped me. So how do you help your clients with all of that?
I'm so with you on the dancing, first of all. I absolutely love it. And that's actually one of the things we have in each week, each module, there's a movement protocol, like a movement practice, which is pretty much workouts, but it's just that. It's like, it's stuff that's going to get you in a more, so it has dance therapy in there once a week. It has, yoga, things that are going to get you to move in a way that feels good.
Yeah.
Not like working out doesn't always have to look like being in the gym, right, for hours or whatever. And if that feels good for you, then that's beautiful as well. I loved back in the day, I loved lifting weights. Like it felt powerful. It felt good. I always felt good afterwards. And that's one way to do it as well. But it's cool to see that, yes, you can work out by going rollerblading by the beach if that's what you love, right? Like going dancing, walking, whatever. So yeah, but yeah, for someone that signs up with the accountability piece is, they're assigned a mentor that checks in on them each week, that reviews their journal prompts and, the work that they're doing. They have an accountability partner. They have me that I check in with them and we do calls each week. And so we really hold you accountable to everything. And then we also, like you said, the first month, what does it look like? You have, like I said, you have modules, you have meditations, you have webinars, you have coaching calls, you have all these things. But we go through, let's see, just the first month, we go through one presence, which is huge. Learning to really observe what's going on versus identify with things. I think that is that's really, really important. Is most of us, we identify with certain situations, right? And we create meaning all the time, right? Like this person said something, this person looked at me a certain way, and therefore I create this meaning, and that means this about myself. And we create these huge stories. We go through self-soothing, which is huge for people that are going through this. We go through healing unworthiness, understanding how our powers and our pain, like the way that we look at pain, is huge, which is what helps us now allows us to go deeper into our emotions. Because if I see the pain that I'm going through, the emotional pain, all these things as a blessing and as something that's teaching me something, and now that's a completely different perspective. And now I'm going to welcome it in and actually learn from it versus numb it. Mm-hmm. Right? We go through self-sabotage. We go through the power that's in our feminine, because most of us are the reason that we're perfectionists, all or nothing, all these things it's like this very masculine mask that we put on. So understanding the feminine and the power that's in there, and then actually allowing ourselves to receive versus always people pleasing. Cause I see that a lot. Yeah. I feel like the feminine hit you.
Yeah.
Is that
She made her presence known right now. She was like, present.
Yeah.
So good.
Yes. And then we go through even like processing anger, like an anger meditation to release all of it. Being able to differentiate, like having rules in your life and being really rigid versus having boundaries that serve you. And creating those boundaries. Most of the time, the anxiety that we have, if you look at like, what do I have anxiety around? It's things that you haven't yet created a boundary on. So taking a look, and that's something just for the listeners, if you guys are like, well, I feel really anxious around this thing. It's usually there's a boundary that's missing there that we need to create. So looking at those different things and emotional responsibility, having integrity, inner child, the trigger cycle. Like these are all things that we work through, even just the first month. So yeah, that's
amazing. Oh my gosh, that is absolutely amazing. I don't see how anyone can't be transformed by this academy for the better. Like that's
Thank you.
Incredible. My gosh, that's so fast. You have the crash course that helps people with the practical tools, that helped you, overcome emotional overeating. And then you have the masterclass that you guys dig into the beliefs just beliefs and like on the internal, but really the academy, the 12-week program is what's going to give them the major accountability. They have mentors, they get on calls with you. They dig into these internal with like, oh my God, with the feminine and the anger meditations and the dance therapy. Oh my God, this sounds amazing, dude.
Yeah, it's been my baby and it's taken, it's been a crazy, but now it's cool because every class that goes through, I work on making it better. And so now this next one, I'm working on just creating different affirmations that go into it. So you'll even have like audios of affirmations that you can listen to in the car or just as you're walking, so that I want to always just continue to reinforce, to shift those beliefs, to get you to take action from, because, affirmations are great, but then we have to actually take action on them, right? Is to actually believe. Yeah. So yes.
Get that, dude. I know. I've been working on this mindfulness course since May, developing it since May. The meetings, the development meetings I've had, I've almost shot it twice. That's how much has gone into this, where I've like started to record. I even went to a studio the other day and actually was starting to record. And I'm like, no, this, it's not ready. There's still something else I need to add into this, and it takes time. And it's so much, what I finally was able to, I don't want to say the word master, but like, I guess I can say that word, but like that creative mindset, because for you to create all the different programs that you just created, that takes hardcore creativity, right? Hardcore.
Yeah.
Like, and it's a lot. And as a creative, I used to be like, oh, but anybody can come up with this. Oh, but like, I never gave my creativity the credit it deserved, and how much mental energy and mental power that used, right? And so I was always like, but I shouldn't feel tired at the end of the day. I'm just creating. I mean, it just comes naturally to me. But no, that's a lot of energy. And when I started to realize that, I'm like, now I feel even so much more like confident in what I'm putting out, because it does take a lot of mental juices to come up with these programs, to come up with this. And then plus the action of implementing them,
Yeah.
And I'm like, if it were up to me, I would just be like a full-on creative, and like have someone take the reins right now, because that's my zone of genius. And everyone has a zone of genius. Have you read the book, The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks?
No, but I've heard of it. I've heard good things of it.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. Like, don't get me wrong. I don't think I'll ever give up, being a businesswoman. I love business too. Like I love it. But oh my gosh, my creativity is where I really thrive. And we all have a zone of genius. And so it wasn't until I started to take my creativity much more serious, and not just this is just how I am and who I've been. Like it's easy. No. Once I started to give it, again, the attention and the credit that it deserved, things just started to shift for me. And I started to feel so much better inside. So much more confidence came about it. So much more of like, oh, I got this. If I can, I'm going to create something else too. And it's going to be great. And I can improve on this. And it's just, yeah.
That's awesome. See, so for me, it's the complete opposite. I've always seen myself as more of a businesswoman, and I've never, like, the creative side. This is where I had to use my like self-sabotage stuff and tools and all those things because I was self-sabotaging. I was like, well, I'm not this creative person, but I went through all these things. I learned these things. So I want to put it into a course, but how do I do that? Like, I'm not creative, I'm like, well, I don't know. How do I make content? How do I do this business thing? And so, but when I started, I was like, okay, I have to shift my beliefs. I have to shift my identity to because we're all creative. We can all, if we sit there, it's just, we have this, we block ourselves. I would challenge you, since you're saying with your course and you're like, well, it's not ready yet. It's not ready yet. It needs more. I kind of sense a little bit of perfectionism in there.
Like, I thought that too for a second there. And I was like, shoot, this is amazing. I'm just, yes, continue. Yes. Tell me.
Yeah. I don't know. For me, what helped me, even with the academy, I sold it before it was ready. Like, I had the ideas together. I sold it. I had the first class lined up, and the very first class, I mean, it was kind of a shit show, but I was literally like, I had no choice. I would Sunday night, their new modules would release on Mondays. Sunday nights, you would see me until like midnight. My eyes, like, I was just, there were bags under my eyes. We were filming that same week. I was creating, like, it kind of got me to do it, to launch it, just put it out. It took away that perfectionism because I was like, okay, it needs to come out. I'm going to create it. Yeah. And if I need to, if there's anything that I want to add, like, now I'm like, okay, cool. I want to add affirmations. I want to add this, and I can go back and I can edit and I can add and I can, but it kind of, it got me past myself, right? Because I kept blocking myself. I would have continued to self-sabotage. I would have been like, well, no, it needs this, or procrastinating, right? Because I'm afraid. Now I had no choice. I was like, these people need their modules next week. I was like, shit, I got to do it. So yeah, I sold it first. And then, I kept doing it. I kept creating, and it took me 12 weeks to create, where if not, it would have taken me months on months, if not years. I probably wouldn't have it yet because of all the work and all the things and all the procrastination,
Yeah, heck. And you wrote it yourself, I imagine, right? Like, you wrote it yourself. And where did you shoot it?
At my house. I have a camera, and my husband and I, we are all about like traveling. I know we're on Zoom now. Like, I have a world map behind me. We're all about traveling. We're all
my bed in my room.
Yeah. Yeah. We love it. So we've always had cameras. we always wanted to do like a YouTube channel of us traveling and this and that. And so we've always had those things. So I just, I had the lights, I had the camera, and I just kind of set it up, and I just did it myself, edited it myself at first. And so now I have a lot more help, and I was able to make it look a lot more professional and whatever. But yeah, the first round was that, like, let me get it out. If not, the more we wait, the less people we're helping. So.
Right. No, you're absolutely right. And I'm going to begin filming this week again, but this time in my apartment, because I wanted to be like, I realized I wanted to be like an extension of a Getting Mental pod episode, because a lot of the messages that I get are, oh my God, we feel like we're in that living room with you. Thank you for talking about mental health with like such a, comedic twist, such like I feel like I'm just having a conversation with you, Yeah. And so I realized when I was in that studio too, I was like, oh, not only can I add things, but you know what? I also don't want this to look so professional. Like, if my audience is like, seems like you're just our cousin and we talking, it's like, then I want to give them that too.
Exactly.
So film it here, same setup as the pod, and just have it be like an extension.
Yeah. I literally recorded the whole course the whole academy is I'm on my couch and my kitchen is behind me. It's like the very, just at home kind of thing. And then even then the master class and stuff I was kind of like, I think the master class I did while pregnant. Yeah. So I was like, well, I don't know, like, how do I make it look? What do I do? And I was like, you know what? I don't want to do the whole setup again, or, I kind of want to do it a little bit quicker because it's a faster course. And I was like, well, Loom is perfect. I don't know if you've used Loom.
Loom?
Where No, you're able to do kind of like PowerPoints and record and have your face on there. So it's more done on the computer and you're just kind of explaining the whole thing. So that was another way to do it. So, because I was like, okay, I see myself procrastinating. I see myself self-sabotaging because now my excuse is, how do I set it up? Where do I do it? We're moving. I'm pregnant. We're this. Like I have all these excuses. I'm like, no, let's do it. It's not going to be any less effective or not help people because it's not done with a professional thing. Right. So yeah. We got it. It is about just for anyone listening, when it comes to procrastination or it comes to self-sabotaging and stuff. And with any of this work, it's so much honesty. It's so much just looking at yourself and being like, calling BS on yourself.
Yeah.
Right. Cause I could have played out the pregnancy card all the way until now, but no, I get to be real with myself. No, the reality is I could do this in seconds. It's just, I'm just using excuses. I'm just self-sabotaging.
Yep. Right. So freaking right. Yep. I caught myself right now too. I'm like, did you just hear yourself? Did you? I just caught myself. I'm so happy you caught it because it's like, yeah, man. Yeah. All right. Yeah. We gonna do this now. We gonna make this course now.
Yes. It's so crazy when you're actually present around your language and what the things that you're saying. And if just for everyone listening, I would challenge you to just take a day to become really aware about the things that you're saying, right? We can really get to know ourselves a lot by just listening in to what we're saying and what we're doing.
Yep. Yeah. 100%. Yes. And dude, I'm so grateful for you. I can't believe it's already almost an hour from our pod. Time just flies. Like, I
know. I could talk to you all day.
I know. Oh my God. I know. No, I can't wait for us to like do this again.
We have to do this later on with Corona and all these things. Like literally sit on the couch and have some coffee, have some tea.
I'd be honored. Hell yeah. I would love that. I would love that so hard. And for everybody watching, I'm also going to have a link to Andrea's masterclass and the course and like the academy and like all this stuff for you guys to enroll and check her out. And oh my God, Andrea, can you please let everybody know your socials? And I'm going to make sure to have your socials also like pop up and all that stuff.
Yeah. So I'm on Instagram, Facebook as @thingsandreasays. And then you can check out ditchthescale.com for the academy or thingsandreasays.com. And you can see some of that, but also the links that she'll have on there. Anything, let me know that you heard of me from here, and we're going to give you a really special discount on all the courses and things. So,
y'all hear that? That's all for you guys. Oh,
yes.
Thank you. I appreciate that, dude. No,
just for you guys. So yeah, reach out to me and let us know. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. The Zoom is just like, I don't know. It just started acting weird. Anyways, but yeah, seriously, thank you. I can't thank you enough. And is there like what would be your closing statement on getting mental?
So as women and men and for everyone, our biggest fear is that we're not worthy just as humans. And our biggest fear is that, that we'll never be loved, or then because we're not worthy. And so therefore love will be retracted. And so I just want you guys to know that your worth is innate. Like you are so worthy. You are so lovable. You are so loved just by being here. Like you would never look at a baby. I just had my baby and you would never look at a baby and be like, this human is not worthy of this and that because they look this way, or this woman is not worthy or because they didn't achieve something. Or you would never even just look at a bum on the street and be like, they're not worthy of living a better life. It's like we put all these conditions and we're so much love. We're so much light. We just have this conditioning that has been, throughout the years that we've picked up. And we just have to kind of peel off those layers to finally get to our true selves, to the highest version of ourselves. There's absolutely nothing wrong with you. There's absolutely nothing to fix. It's just letting go of this conditioning, letting go of these beliefs, peeling off these layers so that we can finally get to just so much greatness. In short, you're so worthy, you're so loved, you're amazing. So go out there and do great things.
I felt that. I know everyone watching this just felt that too. Oh my God. I felt, you're amazing. Thank you so much. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Andrea is going to be back, and I can't wait to have her back. And please reach out to her, seriously. And we're here for you guys. We're here.
Yes. For anyone honestly going through anything with emotional eating, binging, eating disorders, anything like that, we reach out to us. There is so much support, so many people that understand what you're going through. And I've been there. It's freaking scary. It's lonely. And so just know that there's a huge community and so many people out there that just want to help you. So reach out.
Yay! Oh my God. And don't hang up on me. I'm going to just stop recording, but all right, bye guys. You guys have an amazing time. I'm gonna keep talking to her, so my bad. But
bye.
This episode where we've come to the end. But I love you guys, and stay tuned for everything else to come. And I love you guys. I'll talk to you guys later. I'm checking out.
Bye.